That you're here. So, I was just having a beautiful conversation with another delightful divine feminine in the comments section of one of the last videos I did. I'm so glad that all of y'all liked it, and thank you so much, divine maverick mother of twins, because I would not be here if you were not there. In any case, or I would have, but it would have taken a lot longer. So, what I want to talk about, though, is a conversation that happened, and it's something that actually reminded me I meant to talk about this a long time ago. And part of the reason that I love this story is because it reminds me of another story of us video that I want to do that my DM loves. So I wrote a book years ago. It's still on Smashwords. I I don't know if I want to promote it per se though, because my skills as a writer were not where they are now, and it I definitely need to update it. But it's called Change Your Vocab, Change Your Life. And it was, I mean, I had just barely started getting, like, Abraham Hicks had just barely gotten out there. So I was trying to listen to them. Their energy was a little unstable. I wasn't quite ready for it, but I heard a couple of messages in it. And I was very into self development. I was really leaning into it, especially because my DM had some third party stuff going on. And so, being an Enneagram 8 type, I leaned into my five wing, or not five wing, I leaned into my stress point, which is Enneagram 5 type, which means I went into research and mastery, which I love about being, that's part of why I love being an Enneagram 8. My stress point is to learn and master new things. Yay. And that fits with my neurodivergence very well. So I went in and I went down a rabbit hole that took me to this beautiful place that I learned about neurolinguistic programming, which most of its roots actually is in linguistics, though it did become, like, it's funny. Tony Robbins actually got into it. He renamed it a few other things. He caught it from others, but he started getting into it when he looked into Maslow's hierarchy of basic human needs and started looking into that and was using it to help people. Though because Tony Robbins at that time was mostly like the people that were connecting with him were all into sales, and and he said his sights high, he wanted to work with very affluent people. It makes sense for his story because his particular wounding was poverty. But a lot of people then started using it for sales tactics, and then it became associated with a lot of MLM stuff. And then, thankfully, because of the beautiful science that linguistics actually is, it came out of that and is now seen as a helpful tool, right? Now, the oversimplified basis of neurolinguistic programming is that the words we use and we speak, how do I put it? So the words that we grew up hearing, the colloquial terms of things, the verbs that we use to describe things, they are a part of how we get trained, because words are magic, words are spells, words are how we think about the world, right? And the words that you speak to yourself and the words that you speak to others, those become a type of magic. I say part of my brain is going, you can explain that better, but I'm hearing from my guide saying, no, let people come to their own understanding. So I'm just going to move to the next thing. So fast forward to that, right? There was something else that I like, that I had an elder from well, it's a diverse indigenous spiritual group who shared with me one time something that he learned on his travels. And I'm going to do some research because I want to have more information about this. Though, what he learned about was from several, I believe, Eastern Indigenous American tribes, way, 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 way back. Before white people, or at least before we discovered things. They used to believe that any time that you had an interaction with another human being, that you were forever changed. And I 100% believe this. I already believed it before, but now with the research they're doing with quantum physics and the boson Higgs, the God particle, I absolutely believe it. They've even proven that when you observe a cloud, that cloud is it's I don't know what the word is, because it's like we are dense. We're density. Our 3D bodies, our vessels, we are dense, right? So I don't know what the opposite word is of not dense, but I know that clouds have a very low density of energy, right? So they've proven that when we observe them, we affect them. They'd actually, like, no, it's not in your head that when you look at a cloud, suddenly it moves or changes form. There's even people that practice telepathy skills with clouds first, because you can actually will a cloud into certain shapes and forms. Now, granted, you're also, there's some other elements in there like the wind and weather and things like that, but you can with practice and with a great sense of humor do such things. In any case, I do believe it. Like the ancient tribes believed that even if you were, like, say that you're walking through a forest and you come to a meadow, and someone else is coming from another side of the other forest and they come to that meadow also, and say that you don't, like, you never actually talk with them, but you each look at each other, you notice each other's presence. From that moment on, you are forever changed. It may not seem like a really significant way. It could be a much bigger way than you think, but you are forever changed with that. Now, the other thing is that some conversations started happening about about the words that we use, because some people said, like, somebody had said that really strikes me, and this elder, he stopped that person and he said, I know what you're saying, but I want you to really think about what you're saying, because something else he had learned. I don't know that it was necessarily from the same indigenous sources, but it went together. Is that, especially in white culture, we use very aggressive language. And we do, if you think about it. And this is something that happened in the comments section. My guide said, talk about this. I said, okay. So when you think about, that really strikes me, or that really hits me, or my DM will often say, that hits me in a way I didn't expect. Think about it. To hit something, to strike something is an aggressive thing. We don't, I mean, well, no, okay. My guides are saying correct that. When you use a lady's arm on a hand drum, that's what they call it, because a lot of people will call it a beater, but the drum is considered feminine and you don't beat feminines. So you have grandmother's arm, right? And you use that, but you don't have to, you're not necessarily striking a drum or beating a drum. That's what I mean. That's how we use that aggressive language. We're not striking the drum, we're playing the drum. We're playing with the drum. We're playing with the spirits of the drum. We're not hitting it, right? But think about it though. Somewhere in our minds, we got this colloquialism where we go, that really strikes me. And we associate it with a good thing. Like, that struck me. Like, we're happy to be struck, which I'm not saying that you need to, like, adjust every little thing that you say or never use language like that, but think about the energetic value of it. Because to be happy about an aggressive thing, like, you're not like, like, think about how different it would be if you said, that really plays my heart in such a beautiful way, right? Think about, like, just I think the call of this energy shift is, it's not that you have to do anything. You're not doing anything wrong, though part of our journey is to create healing ripples out into the rest of the world, right? And one of the ways that we can do that, and that we can shift our own energy and shift it, if you're in a twin flame union, because this video is for everybody, but if you're in a twin flame dynamic of some kind, you can help shift the energy between you and your twin and use that to observe how the shifts happen more directly. And then you can start to use that with others around you, because I can guarantee you, I've done it myself. That's part of why I wrote the book, because I recognize the power of words. And when you start to, it really, like, get metacognitive, which means you think about your thinking, and you start to play with the way that you speak, not because you have to, not because you're doing something wrong, but simply because you want to enjoy the shift in that energy. You want to observe what happens. That's when real magic starts to happen. So what I want you to do, if you watch this video and you feel called to, especially if you're in any sort of place of anxiety or desperation about your life, your twin flame connection, whatever is going on, I want you to stop and do this exercise. Like, really, really do it. Stop and think about how, maybe look through your text messages, or look through the way that other people talk to you. How often does somebody say, that really hit home for me, or that really struck me, or what's another one? Like, think about, because another conversation that had come up with that elder was when somebody says, oh, what is it? I really want, a sweetness. It was about like trying to find verbiage that did not include an energetic clause of an equal and opposite reaction. So, like, if you want world peace, the only way to have world peace is to first have war. Like, this is part of understanding the energy of things, right? If you want to have, and this is something that I'm going to talk about more in other videos. The spirit and others have been asking me to do this for a while, and it just didn't feel like the time yet. But it's about thinking about your intentions, because if you are praying for strength, spirit's going to bring you a bunch of situations that make you feel like you have to feel strong, right? If you pray for courage, you're going to be put in a lot of situations where you have to be brave. If you pray for connection, if you pray, here's the thing. Oh, this is juicy. You're really gonna like this. If you're praying for love and connection with someone, especially your twin flame, spirit's going to put you in situations where you have to love yourself even more, because that's what you're asking for. When you're asking for your twin to love you, you're asking for yourself to love you. All right, I'm gonna leave this here. Questions down below if you have any. Email me, text me, call me. I love you. Goodbye.